Hello, welcome back to How to Have a Wedding as Individual as You Are. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. One of the things I've really enjoyed is getting to chat to lots of my friends in the industry and having lots of fun whilst we share tips and advice. What is starting to happen is that those friends are starting to recommend other suppliers and industry experts to me because they think they have lots of value to give on an episode. Today I chat to Jo from VV Raven, and she was recommended to me by Fiona from Fifi's Cakery. I met up with Jo, had a little chat and instantly hit it off. She is one of the loveliest, most genuine women I've had the pleasure of meeting. Her work is incredible. The passion for her work just radiates through her as she talks about her designs and her creation. So I'm really excited about seeing where her business takes her, and I'm really grateful to have been introduced to Jo. So do enjoy the podcast and don't forget to check out her wonderful work. Good morning, Jo. Welcome to the podcast and thanks for coming to see me on this horrible rainy day. Hopefully we can cheer each other up and give lots of useful information to our listeners. Before we get started, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Hi Ross. Lovely to be here. My name is Jo Thorndike. My business is called VV Raven. I'm a stylist and a floral designer. I work with fresh and faux, and I'm based on the Essex-Suffolk-Cambridgeshire border.
Very nice border to be on.
It is. Lots of counties very close together.
Brilliant. So you said you're a stylist and a floral designer?
I am, yep. I started as a florist.
Okay.
But realised when I was taking flowers into weddings and things that actually I preferred to be in charge of the whole event. So to actually the look and the feel and the vibe, pull it all together. So I've slowly started adding more and more. I've started to add more greenery, and now I actually work with people to choose the china and to do all of the decorations and to get things to actually all pull together as one.
Oh, fantastic. So that's sort of an organic growth and
it is very
evolution
much so.
of your business.
Yes. Well, I didn't even know that a stylist job existed, to be honest. It's it's amazing once you actually get into the business, and the more you do that, the more you realise exist. And also perhaps coming from it, I realised that I could create a job and create a business that perhaps might be slightly different to somebody else's.
Yeah, fantastic.
You don't just have to have a business that fits into this box. You know, it's a business that's created through giving people what they want.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I think as weddings are changing and becoming more unique,
definitely,
there are going to be services like yours that become more needed. Really.
Yes, and that's the wonderful thing, about the business is that every wedding is different, everyone is different because every couple is different, and it's so much fun to pull out people's personalities and to make a day that's truly about them.
Brilliant. So what's your background in terms of the business? What did you do before you started the business? Were you always involved in floral designs and being creative?
No, not at all. I started out in architecture.
Oh, wow.
And I seriously, it's a really bad way I got my first job. I had a place at college to do art and design at Braintree College, or I had an option to get a job at an architect's practice. And when you're 18, you don't realise how big these decisions will be. I actually decided which I'll get money if I go and work rather than go to college. So I went to the job of the architect's practice, which I then met my husband there as well. So it
was a good decision.
It was a good decision.
Money and love. That's pretty good. Yeah.
But I ended up doing that for a long time. When I started, it was very creative. I was working for housing developers, and I was designing housing estates, and some not very far from where we're sitting at the moment, actually. And so it was very creative. But then as I went on and I got further on in my career, I worked on bigger and better developments, but ended up really more as a project manager.
Right.
And a team builder and that kind of thing. So the creativity, I'd worked on some amazing developments in Cambridge that are award-winning, But obviously they're then working with big London practices, architects and whatever. So the creativity kind of got lost.
Yeah.
But the team building and the project management is something that is amazing to have, and is brilliant to do now. And my attention to detail and all of those things is very useful in life.
Life in general and
Exactly.
weddings specifically. Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely.
So so I did that for a long time, and I had the classic moment where I stood in Saffron Walden and I was just idly looking around, and there was a sign in a window that said "florist wanted," and I just looked at it and was like, "That's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a florist." And my husband went, "Yeah, they don't earn any money. This is really hard work. You don't want to do that." And I was like, "Okay." And it kind of got shelved and it got forgotten about. And then, unfortunately, we had a family friend died, and she was only 60. And I went to her funeral, and I thought, you know what, life's too short. If I want to do something,
just do it.
I need to do it.
Absolutely.
And then my cousin decided to get married, and she said, "Oh, you can do my flowers." I'm like, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I can or not. And I had just an hour's tutorial to make a bridal bouquet, and I did her flowers, and they were fine. So after that, I kind of decided I was going to start the business, and then did a plan of, working and saving money, and did a few friends' weddings for nothing, learning. And then 2.5 years ago, chucked it all in and started VV Raven.
Fantastic. How exciting. And you've gone from strength to strength by all accounts. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And it's fascinating how it's evolved and changed. And I've built it quite slowly, quite organically, just meeting people and doing things and learning and adding. And that's why the floral design has ended up now with the styling. And then the styling is the thing. I'm so passionate about the pair of them together, of making a space work, and look beautiful, not just... Because flowers are stunning. They're stunning on their own. But if you could just pull it together with everything else as well, I think that's what really sets it off.
It creates the wow factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a real organic process, and you found your niche and your passion, really.
Exactly. Totally. Yes, totally. And it's, as I said, I didn't even know that and obviously when you look around, there are stylists. Everything you look at is styled.
Yeah.
Every advert you watch, everything you look at in the newspaper, every magazine... now everything I look at, like I watch things on the television, like The Crown, and everything you watch is styled.
It's styled, yeah.
But you don't even realise.
No.
Because it's styled to look like a suburban home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But everything is. So now I get inspiration from everything I look at. You go to a garden centre, the way the plants are laid out, everything is done in some way.
And there's a whole thought process and planning behind it.
Exactly, yeah, which is quite fascinating.
I think people often think that with photography, the photographer is in control of all of it, and very often the photographer doesn't do the styling. It's a whole separate skill set and entity in itself, isn't it? And again, with the wedding, it's...
Yeah. Well, I think with the photographer, it's knowing the right picture to take. Do you know what I mean? It's there, all the elements are there, but it's knowing how to get them in the right order and in the right way round.
Yeah.
Seeing it.
Yeah.
And that's a special eye, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I can look at something and I just need to turn that chair just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it must be like turn the face to the light.
Or just, myself get down lower or higher or shoot through this, and it just adds depth to it. So it's...
But it's knowing that.
Yeah.
And it's seeing that and knowing what to do that I think is the thing.
Definitely.
That adds,
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have a certain style? If I said describe your style to me, what would you say?
I find fascinating too, because people can't see me, but I don't dress very gothically. I don't dress all in black. I haven't got black lipstick on, if that's the box that you're going to put gothic in. But I love the gothic style. I love wild and wonderful and dark and dreamy. I love nature. But then I can also do soft and dreamy and pretty as well. But for some reason, I'm really drawn to the dark and to the... I always loved films like The Matrix and Sleepy Hollow. I love Tim Burton.
Brilliant.
Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter.
They are amazing.
They are amazing. Yeah. So I think it's just... I quite like the kind of ethereal, the kind of... You're not quite sure what's happening behind the curtain, There's always
a bit of mystery and intrigue, and
yeah, and I think and somebody else who's done Fifi, that's done your podcast, I think she said the same thing. She just likes just to give it a little edge, just to make it feel a little bit, oh, that's I wasn't quite expecting that.
Make people think and stop, and just, especially with weddings, because there is a tried and tested style or process, isn't there, or vision.
Yeah.
So to, if guests are walking in, it must be nice to have that sort of pause and sort of look around it's the wow factor.
And I think there's a lot of, certainly with mine as well, that's I think lots of people don't think about scent. And obviously flowers, there's a lot of scent, but I also use scented candles, and I use loads of herbs. And I think scent is a massive thing. The thing we have, like when the grass has just been cut, that smell, isn't it wonderful? And how does it make you feel? And it reminds you of being a child, or, all those.
It evokes really strong memories, doesn't it? Scent? Yes. It's really powerful.
And when I do wedding fairs or wedding shows or whatever, I always have a candle on, and people go, oh, wow, it smells lovely in here. And they don't even realise that how much that impacts on how they're feeling about what they're looking at.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
And I use loads of herbs in my wedding bouquets, mints, and because I haven't said I'm very passionate about using British. I have lots of local growers that I buy from, and I buy from lots of British farms as well. And the herbs make such a massive difference. You've got rosemary, obviously everybody knows about rosemary.
Yeah.
But all different mints, pineapple mints, chocolate mints. Parsley has an amazing seed head when it goes to seed. And my growers grow all of those, and thyme, flowering oregano. And those, if you've got a wedding bouquet, everybody wants to hug you when you're a bride. And the scent that gives off, or in a hot room, the scent that comes off that is magical to me.
It is magical. I've never even thought of that. And I've spoken to, I know several florists, but I've never thought about the scent and how powerful that can be.
It is incredibly powerful. Yeah. It's another sense that, you look at, it's like food, isn't it? Apparently you look at food with your eyes, you taste it with your eyes before you eat it.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. And I've strangely, lots and lots of my bride and grooms are either chefs or cooks, which I've only kind of worked out, and that seems to be that they love the idea of herbs being used. Yeah. Because I think they're underrated.
Well, they are. They're underused and underrated, absolutely.
They are, aren't they? When you have a meal, you put herbs in a meal, changes it, transforms it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And they have so many medicinal properties that we've kind of lost and forgotten, so, yeah.
That's really interesting. Really interesting, yeah. And I think I haven't covered styling a lot on the podcast or in the book, only in terms of don't get caught up in chair covers and things like that. Keep the vows and the love at the centre of what you do. But I think if you work with a stylist like yourself who incorporates all those senses into it, that, like you say, it's going to have an impact on how you feel and how your guests feel. So that's a really interesting dimension to it. Really interesting.
Yeah, and the cooks, how fascinating is that? It wasn't until the other day that I looked and I realised, like, cracky, at least over half of this year's bride and grooms are actually in the culinary trade.
Yeah. It's always interesting when you look back at previous clients and see sort of things that make them seem cohesive or draw them together. They have a sort of a quality or something about them that you think, oh yeah, I'm attracting people from this subcategory or this occupation. Yeah.
I suppose again they're very creative people as well.
Yeah, and they use their senses, like you say.
Yes.
So.
Well, there's the one I'm doing this month, a really lovely couple, and we're hoping, and of course, obviously, using British flowers, I am totally at
the mercy
of nature.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to have apple blossom, which he's putting on the dessert, which I will have in the flowers. So that will be a really lovely connection. And because he's a chef, that's something that's important to them. We're doing all spring flowers for that, and I've got beautiful. They don't even, they're perfect clients. They haven't said a colour scheme. They've just said, we want beautiful, bright, fun, British, colourful, so I can find whatever's best, the absolute best at the time, and make their arrangements from that.
That's really cool. So going on from there, how involved do you get in the styling on the day, before the day? How much leeway do most clients give you in terms of the style and
I think lots of clients don't even know about styling.
No.
They don't know that it's an option. And there is something, like you're saying about chair covers and stuff, there is venue styling, which is chair covers and those things, and that's confusing. And even I find that confusing. So as a couple coming in who've never got married before, You know, they're not going to know the difference between a chair cover venue styling and my kind of styling.
Yeah.
So I think I need to let people know that.
Yeah.
But when I first meet people, when I sit down with them, I usually say to them, give me 3 words that best reflects how you want your wedding to be.
I like it.
They have to stand there and go, ooh, okay. And generally it's relaxed, and because I do lots of TP weddings, and so they're outdoors and they want something that's chilled and relaxed.
Informal.
But that's really good for me, because then that gives me quite a take on what they like and what they want. And sometimes they can be very stressed as well. So to say, don't worry, you know, I see couples who have been bombarded by Pinterest and by, you know, there's so much you could do. You think, oh, I'll get married, and then you start to look, and there's this massive industry. Yeah. So if I say, these are your 3 words, well, whoever you book, whatever you do, go back to those 3 words. Do they fit what you want?
That's what I always say. I in my book, I always refer to them as values, like identify your values. But they don't have to be values, like you say, they could just be words. But having those sort of 3 things that you keep going back to really helps block out a lot of noise.
It does, doesn't it? Because does that go with, well, no, it doesn't, great, boom, gone.
Yeah.
You know, so I would have that conversation with them, and then I ask a bit about them. What do they do? What are their interests? Lovely couple last year who were really into skiing, so they had ski poles and stuff, and their cake. We dressed the cake, but that had them skiing on it. But it was a TP wedding, but it all went together because it was about them. So you don't have to worry about, does this go with this? Because if it
goes with you, it's all going to go together.
Exactly. So we have that conversation, and then I will do a quotation for them, describing what I think, and then from there we work to what they want, what's most important to them. I do say I can work with any budget. You know, we can work from £500 to many thousands of pounds, because you don't have to spend a lot of money, but it's just making it personal. And I think about, you're better to have a couple of bigger things than have the money spent on small things. Yeah. So, you know, you can do on the tables. On some weddings, I've just got little glass bottles with 1 or 2 flowers in each one. And you just have a cluster of those. That's not hugely expensive, but it's incredibly effective. So I think it is very much of getting out what is important to them. Because flowers aren't the most important thing to everyone. I do understand that. I do get that. Yeah. And if you've got your budget and you would rather spend more on your photographer or more on, you know, whatever's important to you, that's fine. I can work with that. I'm not going to come in and go, right, I am about flowers, it's only about me. And I think some people, you know, and I've talked to lots of people at open days where they've already got a florist booked, and I'll still talk to you. It's not, you know, I'm not going to not help you because you already got somebody else booked. I hope you have a lovely day. You've got to have the right florist and the right stylist for you that reflects you. My style is very wild and wonderful. Some people probably think it's a bit messy. But I don't like things being controlled. I don't like, you know, rose domes and things like that. They're not me, but there is a florist who will do that, who'll be perfect for you. Yeah. So I want me and you to get on, and us to, you know, do the right thing that's right for us. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy with what I do, and that would be devastating for me. So. No,
I think if you're client focused, you sound very client focused, like myself, but also quite confident in what you do. Then it's very easy to have that attitude, isn't it? And to help people, but not dictate to them, and to be happy if your style doesn't fit. And those are the type of suppliers that I always recommend people go to. Yeah. So that people should be honest. Suppliers should be honest about whether their services match or not. Yeah. And how much, you know, that's going to cost. And like you say, people prioritise different things, and that's okay.
Exactly. Of course it is.
If you... Going back to those three things you have written down, that stops you getting overwhelmed or thinking you have to spend X amount on one thing and X amount on something else. You might, you know, meet a photographer that suddenly you think, oh, we'll take a bit of budget from that and spend more because we really like them, and, you know, vice versa. Or actually, we don't want loads of photos, but we want it really styled beautifully, so we'll have a smaller photography package and spend more on the flowers. And I think people get so overwhelmed that it's got to be kind of all or nothing, really. And it, you know, you might have a lovely venue. It doesn't mean everything's got to be on that budget level. You know, you can mix and match your budget according to what's important, but you have to identify what's important first and foremost.
Exactly. And I think that's, people really struggle with budgets and things, and that does make it's easier for me if I do know what your budget is or have an idea of your budget, because I think sometimes people don't know what their budget is, but they do know. If you said, it's £5,000, like, well, we haven't got £5,000, so people kind of have an idea. And I think it's a weird thing, because out in life, normal life, you wouldn't go into somewhere and tell them your budget straight away. So I think people can be we're kind of trained not to tell people our budget.
Not talk about money. Exactly.
It's very
true. It's a very
but if somebody
British
says
thing.
I've got £500, okay, fine, right, I will do the best. And I have couples where with a TP wedding last year, where they gave me a sum of money and said, right, we've got this much money, do the best you can with that. And that worked really well. Because I could do the best I could for the money that they had. It wasn't, this is £20, this is £50, and then I just went and bought the flowers for the money that we had, and I carried on until they disappeared. And that worked really well for both of us. So yes, I think that's the thing. People are kind of, they think they shouldn't tell you your budget, because what if it comes in for less? Well, if it...
I think people think if you say you've got a £5,000 budget, you're going to find a package that costs them £5,000.
Yes.
I
do get, and I understand that, because like when you go and get a house or a car or something, they always give you more, don't they? They always, we are trained to be quite cagey about that. But actually, I'm not going to push you to spend any more money than you want to spend.
No.
I'm just going to say this is what you can have for a certain amount, but I could end up pricing up for things that you can't possibly have. So it's easier for us if we could have just a ballpark. It doesn't have to
figure. Be. It is a tricky one, but I think it's just being honest and open.
Well, it is, and trusting one another as well. And I think that hopefully once you meet people, they understand that you're not out to try
fleece them. And that, I think that again, that comes from meeting people in person, because you can't beat that gut feeling when you talk to somebody in person. And
I have, and someone said to me when I was doing my training that I know when my couple walk in the door, I know them, and I'm definitely starting to get that. I met this lovely girl the other day. By the end of half an hour of talking about her wedding, we were hugging. They're like, "Oh, I'm so excited." She was so excited, and now I'm planning her styling and flowers with her, and we just knew. And
you do just know,
don't you? And I love that, the connection that you have, that it's an honour to be.
It is an honour. I think it's a real honour, and that's what I say to people. Suppliers should feel honoured and privileged that you've booked them.
Definitely. And if they don't, they're not the right supplier.
They're not the right one. They shouldn't. You shouldn't feel privileged to have booked their services.
Yes,
it's the other way around. But you do get some that are like, well, you're lucky to have me. This is what you get. Kind of thing.
Definitely.
But try and avoid them. But again, you don't always know that until you've met them. And I always think reviews are really important as well, because reviews tell you what suppliers are like after they've had your money.
Yes.
Everyone can say wonderful at a wedding fair or on their website, and even when they meet you in person, and even they meet a month before the wedding. But you need to know what they're going to be like the whole way through the process.
Well, I'm finding that most of my business now is coming through either other suppliers or brides and grooms that I've and couples that I've done their weddings.
Word of mouth is really powerful.
Exactly, and that takes a while to get going.
It does.
Because you have to meet people and stuff. But no, definitely, and that's really lovely when somebody, because I know if I recommended someone, I wouldn't want them to let me down.
No.
So I know that if they're recommending me, they're valuing me, and
and they know. Again, it's when you sort of meet suppliers that you get on with. Yes. You meet your sort of tribe, don't you, really,
definitely.
with the same values. And then you can recommend, because you know that your clients are going to be the similar mindset. Yeah, they're going to be safe, and they've got the similar mindset as the other suppliers. So that really works. And again, if you're looking for wedding suppliers and you've already booked a couple, but you haven't got other supply sorted, go back to the people that you've already booked and see who they recommend.
Definitely, I would definitely say that, because you don't have to take them, but at least there's so many people out there. There's so many that you can't possibly find them all, and if you Google them, I don't think you get who Google decides they want you to see.
No. Well, exactly. What you do with Google is you find the people that have got a big budget for Google.
Yes, for AdWords or whatever, which I'm rubbish at.
So you have to ask around is really key.
I think think so. It's the same with everything, isn't it? If someone to do your car, or a carpenter for the house, or a plumber, people like that you could go onto what used to be Yellow Pages, and look, but you don't know what you're going to get, do you? But you always want somebody that somebody else has used. So it's just exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So if people are sort of thinking about a style or a theme, do you have any more advice for them in terms of, so if I was getting married and somebody said what style, like you say, I wouldn't really know what my style would be. Would you say to look online and look at other pictures, or do you think that it's too persuasive and takes away from what's important to you?
I think a Pinterest board definitely has its place. I think that because you and I could discuss something and we could use the same words, but we could have 3 photos that come up and we could point at different ones.
That's so true, yeah.
So I think a Pinterest board definitely has its place. I think I would prefer to talk to you first, ask about you two as a couple. What do you like to do? What, like the style of your home straight away tells me a lot about you.
Yeah.
The colours that you like. Are you an outdoor person? What season do you like best? That's always a good one.
Yeah.
Because, do you like autumnal? Do you like dark winter? Do you like spring and all the bright flowers? So that tells me a lot about you as well. So I think start with that, and then I would go from that to say, right, from what you've told me, this is what I think, and do a board that I would create for you that I would attach you to, and it would be a secret board, nobody else would see it. And we would say, right, this is what I'm thinking. So then I would meet you, and then we would go through the board, and you would say, I like this one, but I don't like that one, or I don't, or this, but with a bit of extra that.
Yeah.
And then we'd take that off. So I have all my boards for all my couples. So when I get to the week before the wedding, when I'm doing the final ordering, I will then go back, because obviously I've talked to lots of different people since I've talked to you.
Yeah.
But I have a proper quotation with everything written down. So I add feathers, some people like twigs, all different interesting things, which I love adding. I have this, I buy from a company called the Irish Green Guys in Ireland, who do the most amazing foliage. It's the best foliage I've ever seen. It's so fresh. And I can pre-order it, it's cut to order, sent over. And they used to do this, it's called bog myrtle.
Oh,
and it's just
it sounds like something from Harry Potter, doesn't it?
I know, it's brilliant, and I just love it. And it's an old dried twig, and if you don't get my style, you're going to think, what the hell, But I love it. And things like that. So that's all put in. So I'll talk to you and show you things and say, do you like this? I've got a lovely couple in October who are amazing, who are doing fire eating for their first dance.
Wow.
Which, amazing.
Yeah.
They're so, she's, and I've met her. Every time I meet her, we get on so well, because it's October, we're doing berries, we're doing twigs, we're doing pumpkins, we're doing, and I'm just going to style it. And she said to me the other day, she said, I've got the most amazing cake lady, and I've got you. She's a very, very busy lady. She's a cook, again.
Okay.
Very busy lady. And she said, I just trust you. I know you're going to do something wonderful. I don't
That's
even
really nice.
need to know the detail. I'm not going to say, because some florists, it's down to, I want this particular rose, this particular colour, which I don't really work like that. It's more organic.
Yeah.
And I'm so looking forward to doing it. I wouldn't wish the year away, but I'm so looking forward to doing their wedding, because we're gonna be able to use all these twigs and all these different things. So there was a point, and I've lost it now, where I started.
That's all right. And I was so into the wedding you were describing.
The boards. So the boards, we will go back and I'll review the boards when I'm doing the ordering. And so that's when it's really useful to me to remember that's exactly what we discussed, and that's exactly how you would like it to look. So that, because we could discuss it and we could be thinking different things. So the pictures do have a place.
Yeah.
I think if you go into Pinterest not knowing what you like, I think it can blow your mind.
Yeah, Pinterest can, absolutely.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of American and Australian weddings on Pinterest, where weddings in Australia, they apparently have their wedding architects in Australia.
Really?
They will have 4 people involved, a wedding planner, a wedding architect, a wedding stylist. They're massive, it's huge. But lots of them are, they're thousands and thousands of pounds, and people see these things and think, wow, I'd love that. And you say, that's fine, I can do it, but if you've got £10,000 to spend,
it's managing those expectations again,
exactly,
isn't it?
and they don't know. People don't know. They see things, they think, I like that. And flowers are expensive. Flowers are not cheap. They aren't cheap. And
Not
people
at all.
think, I think the supermarket thing hasn't helped with the costings.
Yeah.
People think they're cheaper than they are. But especially if you're buying British flowers, you're paying for a grower who spends all year choosing their seeds, planting them. They're all planting them now. They're all going out. They're watering them, staking them. You know, you've got to pay for that.
Yeah.
That's somebody's. But I love that because I will walk around when I've got a bridal bouquet or the bouquet or the flowers to do. Walk around with the grower and say, right, this week, what have you got that's special, that's different, that you can't get from the Dutch markets because it'll be too delicate. It wouldn't last being travelled, or it's not worth growing huge amounts of it because not everybody likes
everyone wants it. Yeah.
So that's the nice thing with the local, that you get something just that little bit different
Definitely.
as well.
So do you pay any attention to trends and fashions, or do you keep an eye on it but not really follow it, or do you just disregard it totally? Or
I'm not a good rule follower.
That's why you're on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. If someone says I've got to do something, I don't want to do it. So if a couple would like something that is a current trend, I'll do it. I'm not going to not do it. But I'd also prefer to do something that's specifically them. Yeah. But sometimes they don't know what's specifically them until you work with them, because not everybody is given that opportunity, you know, or they're very busy, or so I do see trends, and I see there's a dark gothic-y trend coming, which I'm a little bit worried about because everything's purple, and mine's everything's purple, so I'm going to look really fashionable for a while. But I think they're a good thing if that's what you're looking for. I don't think I am necessarily a trend kind of person. I think I keep being told I'm niche. I'm not totally sure what that means. But
that's a good thing.
I am what I am, and I can't change that. So
no, I mean I see that with photographs. There's certain styles in terms of editing that I see a lot of, and you know, there's sort of 10% of me that thinks, should I be editing like that? But I think stick to what I do, and what I do visually isn't radically different. People wouldn't look at me and say, oh, he's a real alternative photographer. But what I am passionate about is the people.
Exactly.
So there might be people that want their wedding a little bit different, or, you know, they're having it in somewhere that's not a traditional wedding venue, or, you know, they're not having the normal sort of routines and traditions. So although my photos, you might not look and think, oh, he's a really quirky guy, the people that book me do have quite a unique wedding. Yes. But it's about bringing out those people's personalities.
Exactly.
Rather than saying, oh, I'm going to do it from this angle because other people don't do that. You can be different for the sake of it, can't you?
Exactly, and that's
what I've tried to avoid as well. So.
Yes, I think that is a danger, to try and be different, because I do have people say, I want to be really different. Well, actually, that's really hard to be really different. Yeah, and that's
not being you at all. You can be different, and then you're not doing yourself any favours either. So, yeah, that's really interesting sort of take on it, I think. I think it's, again, going back to being true to yourself and what really matters and what doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Are there any sort of practical things that people need to think about? So we see sort of, you've done a lot of style shoots, and I've seen your work and it's incredible, and we'll tell everyone your website at the end of the podcast so they can have a look for themselves. But are there things people need to sort of think in terms of space and health and safety and all little things like that?
I think it very much depends on your venue, you know, and there are venues, and I'm sure that you find that there's some venues that can be really quite unfriendly in the way that you've got to be in, you've got an hour beforehand, you've got to be, and actually I don't seem to have I don't have couples who get married in venues like that, so I'm very lucky. Yeah. Generally, it's a teepee in a field, and it's there the day before, so I get plenty of time. Yeah. So I suppose there's restrictions on more from venues than more from me. I suppose there are things, I like doing things that hang, so there's restrictions on that. But obviously, I would work with the teepee company or whatever to do that. I don't think there are restrictions really. I think that's what I like, that there aren't restrictions. Yeah. Obviously, we've got to be sensible. Yeah. You know, with health and safety and things like that, but I think you can basically do what you like, and I think that's why it's a very exciting time to be in the wedding industry. Yeah, I agree. Because anything goes. And I do see like some grandparents and people turn up to some weddings and are like, what's going on? You know, where's the Toastmaster? Where's the where's all the things that we used to have? Or we're not going to do a first dance, we're going to do fire eating, or we're not having a cake, we don't even want a cake.
Yeah.
We don't even have to have a cake. You don't have to do anything.
No.
And I think that's really refreshing.
It is.
And it's nice, isn't it? It's great because you can do whatever you like.
So we've talked about everything I was going to cover, really, about being individual, not following trends, all the practical aspects. You talked about the impact that styling can have. The whole scent thing really blew my mind because I never even thought about that. And I'm thinking, wedding fairs, I could have something scented on my stand.
It does make a big difference.
Yeah.
It really does. TK Maxx candles, that's a tip.
Oh, okay. I might have to get incense sticks because I'm not sure I'm allowed to light anything.
Right.
So I'll have to...
Yes.
But practicality, yeah. So
but it really does. It's really important when you go in and the smell, and people don't even realise necessarily that they're even smelling anything.
Yeah.
It's not, they're just like, it just smells really nice here, so yeah.
Brilliant. So I always ask people to share some advice based on their own wedding day or a wedding they'd been to as a guest. So it doesn't have to be about styling or flowers. It can be about any random thing. But is there something you wish somebody had told you before you got married, apart from don't do it?
I think it's don't try and please everyone else. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Stay true to yourself as a couple, be united and do what's right for you. Because weddings open all these different doors with everybody, don't they?
Yeah.
It brings out in families, and it's amazing the difference. People that I meet that are quite calm, a year before up until close to, they're so stressed, they're so worried about everybody's got an opinion,
pleasing everyone,
exactly,
compromising.
Exactly. And that's really sad to watch somebody be so stressed about a time when they should be so happy.
Yeah.
So I think it is standing together and going, do you know what? We don't want a Toastmaster. That's my I hate Toastmasters. I shouldn't say that. Sorry, Toastmasters. No, but that's the kind of the formality of that. And you will stand
keep
up
in
now
order and you will do this then and then this next.
So that kind of is like, don't like that. But I think that is the biggest thing, and it's about you two. It's about you two getting married, and it's about your love, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's the end of it.
I think I put a post out the other day saying that don't worry about your guests having a good time; they will have a good time. And I always get lots of photos of guests having a good time because it's nice to look back on.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger day to you two than it is to everyone else.
Yes.
So the important thing is you enjoy it and it goes how you want to go.
Exactly.
If you go to, a wedding as a guest and you don't like certain elements, it's not going to have any impact on you really. You just go home and,
free dinner,
forget about it. Yeah, it's a free dinner, yeah. And obviously, you've got friends and family that are there for the right reasons and want to support you. So they're going to enjoy it, whatever, and they want you to be happy.
Exactly.
But you're the one that's going to feel bad or have regrets further down the line if it's not what you want, if you're trying to please other people.
Exactly.
So I think that's a really good tip.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, thanks, Jo, for all of that information. I've learnt loads today, so I feel educated. Tell everyone about your social media and your website and how people can look at your amazing stuff.
Well, my website is www.vvraven.co.uk. My email address is joanna@vvraven.co.uk, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook as VV Raven Floral. Unfortunately, VV Raven is taken by somebody in Germany who never uses it.
I was going to say, where did the name come from?
I haven't told you. I live in a thatched cottage, and we have two ravens on the roof, and they're called Victor and Violet. So it's named after them.
That's really cool. I like that. Yeah. Really cool.
And I haven't got a picture of them on my website or anything. I'm so bad. I really need to do it.
But it's a memorable name. It's so unique, and it's not you want to associate with weddings, which actually I think is a good thing.
Yes, well, I am finding now, I haven't said I'm arranging events now. I've been doing, and that was the thing. I wanted a business because I didn't know where it was going to go. I started with floristry because I thought, well, that's a job. Yeah. I know it exists. I love flowers. And now it's kind of, I'm arranging events for people and I'm doing different things. So I wanted something that could move with me and evolve and change.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so if you look up VV Raven across social media and put it into Google, you'll find all of Jo's amazing styled weddings that she's done, and they are different, and they're different in a good way, and different because your passion comes across, I think, and you can tell, like we said, when someone's being different for the sake of it or really loves what they do. And I think the passion for what you do really comes across in your
Thank you very much.
Your work.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
You are more than welcome. You can contact me at info@rosswilshirephotography.co.uk or visit rosswilshirephotography.co.uk to view my work, or book me for your weird and wonderful wedding or your traditional wedding, whatever it is. I can capture it however you wish. If you like all the tips that we've been chatting about today and on the podcast, don't forget there is a book that's available on Amazon, How to Have a Wedding as Individual as You Are. Slightly regretting the long title, but it does what it says on the tin. And if you want to get in touch, you can do across social media, Ross Wilshire Photography. If you want me to talk about a certain thing on the podcast, if you have any questions you want me to answer, then I welcome you getting in touch. And do leave a review so it helps more people find the podcast. So if you're listening via iTunes, please rate and review. It only takes a few minutes and it makes a huge difference. Or if you use it on Google Podcast or Stitcher, whatever app you're using to listen to this, do just give it a little positive review, I hasten to add, if you can, if you like it. And it helps spread the word, and then lots more couples like yourselves gets to plan their perfect wedding. But we'll be back very soon. Thanks for listening and happy wedding planning.